Hi, I'm Casey Feldman.
And I'm Kim Chan.
Today we are going to be discussing with you our interactive guide to multitasking on iOS with our program called
MultiPlex.
MultiPlex is a program created in processing that provides the user the opportunity to better understand the ways in which Apple Inc.'s iOS mobile operating system handles applications throughout the system. After studying the flowchart presented above, we decided to simplify this flowchart system in a way that'd be more convenient for our users to better understand how this task is handled. Now, but before we get started to explain how our application works, we'd like to talk to you a little bit about how iOS handles multitasking, so that way when you see their application, it'll be more clear.
In versions prior to iOS version 4.0, a user using an iPad, iPhone, or iPod Touch could only run applications on their devices one at a time. For users unfamiliar with this experience, you touch an icon on screen to open an application and would exit the application by pressing what is known as the Home button, located at the bottom of the screen. This returns all the resources back to the system to use at a later time for another operation or application.
But with versions of iOS 4.0 and higher, Apple added a new form of multitasking, as depicted in the flowchart above. Now, once a user exits the application, an application goes into a state considered suspended. Suspension stores the information of what the user was doing in the RAM, but it doesn't allow it to use the CPU, which would reduce the battery life of these mobile devices. Now, there are exceptions to this rule. Applications that stream music or use voice over IP like Skype, or ones that need to finish a task like uploading a photo, are permitted to run for an extended period of time until the user turns off the feature or the application's task is complete.
This form of multitasking allows the system to handle the resource management without user intervention. While this is convenient, it also can become confusing for some people, and with our application Multiplex, we wanted to make this process easier to understand. We achieved this providing the user with more information interactively without sacrificing some of the structure in which iOS achieves this behind-the-scenes magic. Now, let's get started. Using the metaphor of a theater, we accomplished the idea of multitasking with apps represented as actors on a stage. In addition, we have the screen that is presented to our users showing what the current state of an application is running in, and a dock of applications on the bottom for the user to interact with.
In this case, we've clicked on Facebook, and as we can see, our actor is presented on the main stage, interacting with the audience. In addition, we also see on the left-hand side, under the current state of your apps, that the Facebook icon has moved to active. This allows our users to better understand the metaphor we're trying to convey, which is that the actor on stage is now actively engaged with our audience.
Now let's see what happens when we open another application, in this case Shazam, to better explain this multitask system. What we see is Facebook move into the background behind the stage curtain and count down until the task is completed. Shazam becomes the active app on stage, and this change is also reflected on our side panel, which shows the status of apps to more accurately convey the system.
Once it's completed, Facebook moves over to the left view, waiting in the wings like an actor would to return to the stage, because now its application state is suspended. And when we open up Skype, Shazam also moves into a suspension state because it has no background process to complete. In this way, we accurately convey how iOS handles memory usage by suspending the apps without necessarily using the CPU and having actors run backstage to work. With this example, when we pull up Angry Birds, Skype, because it's a VoIP application, continues to run in the background, and the curtain fades as the process is being done in the background. So now we have actors on stage engaged with the audience, two actors waiting in the wings to come back on, and in addition to that, we have an application running in the background, all of which is reflected on the side view.
The last component of our application deals with how we wanted to represent the flowchart to inform our users of the flow in which iOS sends and receives messages, calls, that make this process seamless. By clicking on the I button at the bottom of our side panel, we see the user is shown the graph in which those tasks are handled through the appearance of a window commonly seen in iOS. This was done because we feel our audience would be more familiar with iOS but encouraged to learn more.
We hope you found MultiPlex to be an informative and engaging way to understand the system of iOS multitasking.
Thanks and have a great summer.